Welcome back once again to howtocookgreatfood.com. If you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel, that really helps us out a lot. Today I'm going to be tenderizing some meat. As you can see here, I've got a nice sirloin beefsteak. I firstly sort of want people to understand the difference between tenderizing meat and a marinade. And there's a big difference. Tenderizing is making the meat soft, and the marinade really is just adding flavour. So you can see I've got a whole lot of different bottles and that over here. So what marinades meat well, or tenderizes meat really well, are salt, sugar and acids. Salt being actual salt or soy sauce. Sugar being straight sugar, or indeed a Coca-Cola or a Sprite or a 7-Up, they're packed with sugar and are liquid. And then you've got acids, which basically are vinegar. I'm not a great fan of any vinegar at all on my meat. I don't want it to taste of vinegar. Or things like lemon juice, orange juice, or sort of apple juice. That kind of stuff, they contain a fair amount. They will tenderize your meat. Adding things like ketchup, mustard, honey, barbecue sauce and all that are just completely going to slow the process down and just give you surface flavour. They're not going inside the meat at all, and in fact they will prevent the other guys that doing their job. Also with oil, I mean oil in itself, the makeup of oil is quite thick, so that again will not penetrate as well as you'd like it to at all. And the worst oil to use is olive oil, because once you put olive oil on, once you cool it down, because what you do is put our marination on and then we'd refrigerate it, but as soon as you refrigerate olive oil, it's like an animal fat. It will actually congeal and get hard, so you've no chance at that point. Okay, that being the case, and we have an understanding of what will tenderize and what will not, let's start losing some things. So we can lose ketchup, mustard and honey. They're just not going to help the process at all. Neither is oil, to be honest. Oil, just stay away from it. Vinegar, I can't stand it. I really don't want my meat to taste of vinegar, although it does have, a acidic property to it. So I'm personally going to get rid of vinegar. I have one more here as well, out of the picture. So that now leaves me with salt. I've got salt in these forms here. I've got soy sauce, which is really salty, and basic straight salt. I've got my sugars, which is straight sugar, or Coke, or Pepsi, or a Sprite, whatever you prefer. And then I have my other acid, or the acid that I'm going to use, is lemon juice. Now, just a little tip here. The red meat is like a sponge. It's about 75% water, and if you add oil to it and stuff like that, it's not going to go inside. It needs small, tiny grains like salt, and the liquids like the sugary liquid or the soy sauce liquid, which is full of salt. But you can see here we've got this fat. Now there is no chance even if I marinate this for a week, this marination is going to get inside that and tenderize it. It's just not going to happen. It also applies to things like chicken skin. Chicken skin is basically a barrier. It's a fatty barrier. You have no hope in hell of getting any form of flavour or marination or tenderization past a thick layer of skin. So maybe take it off, it works so much better. Okay, why don't we pour on some lemon juice there. Get some salt on there. Add into that some soy sauce. put a little bit of straight sugar on that. You could use a brown sugar if you wanted, entirely up to you. And then let's crack open a can of Coke. Now that is tenderizing meat. Now let's not forget, there's a couple of other things. Ginger, fresh ginger is really good, but will add a flavour. Fresh pineapple, and my favourite, this is papaya. Papaya will act as a brilliant, it's probably the best tenderizer. You have to use fresh ginger, pineapple or papaya. It contains an enzyme in it that will just work so well with meat. So what I'm going to do, I'll be back in a moment, I'm going to peel this down, slice some up and get it in there. Okay, let me get back here. There we go, there's my chopped papaya. Just mix this in. See, now what we've got is a very thin, it's very liquidy. The Coca-Cola, that's masses of sugar in there, with some added sugar as well. This papaya, the enzymes in this will just really work, and you'll see we've got straight salt and soy sauce and that lemon juice for our acid. Okay, let's cover this over. If you can leave this for minimum of 2 hours, you're okay. Overnight is fantastic. Now, I've just poo-pooed and got rid of all of our ketchup, barbecue sauce and mustard and all that. They're fantastic, but what we need to do is tenderize the meat. So once this is tenderized, we can then brush all of that on at a later date and it'll be superb. It's surface flavor. That's all it's ever going to give you. So I'm going to cling film this or shrink wrap this. I'm going to be back in, maybe 4 hours, this one I think. And we'll take a look and we'll cook it then. Okay, here we go then. Our steak's been in that lovely tenderizing marinade for about 4 hours now. And I can feel it, she's pretty tender already, she's feeling good. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get my hot plate on now, underneath. And let's just cook it. Let's go. So I've got my plate here, it's just a flat skillet. There's no oil or anything on that. What I like to do is just hold the fat side up on there. Let's just cook that little bit of fat on its own, just for a minute or so. Then we'll knock it onto one side and start cooking. Okay, so as she naturally falls over, I like to cook that fat along there first because it obviously takes a bit longer to cook. Now our steak is absolutely beautiful just like this. You've got a nice sweetness to it. We've got all that Coca-Cola, the sugar, the salt, the acids, all in there that's doing its job. But I don't want to leave it just like that. Let's take a look in here. Here I've got some mustard, some garlic, some honey and some ketchup. I'm just going to mix it up with my brush. So there we go. Now like I say, these are all the things that are surface flavours. If we'd put these on earlier, there's no chance we'd have tenderised the meat. They would have slowed the process up, clogged all the acids and the sugars and that do their job. And we won't have a tender meat. So this now we can brush on as and when we like. Let's turn this over. Look at that, beautiful. And we've got this browning still, it's blackening here. This is coming from the Coca-Cola and the soy sauce mix. Like I say, this is absolutely beautiful just on its own. I'd be really happy to eat that. But I am going to put a little bit of our quick glaze over in a moment. Fantastic. I mean, this steak's ready to go for me. A little pink in the side. Check out my other video as well. We've got a few videos about cooking steak and times and stuff like that. So, like I said, if you wanted, you could eat that right now and it would be delicious. But here, let's just brush on some surface flavours. Like I say, this is just a little bit of ketchup, mustard, some honey, some garlic. Just do that and flip it over. Same on this side. So unfortunately it's a bit of a science lesson, this one, but it is really important. If you understand the acids, the makeup of what you're cooking, the tips like, you know, the skin which will act as a barrier, or the fat, just makes loads of sense, and you can just create different, let me flip this over, different fantastic flavours like we've done at the end. I mean, you can add anything you like in there, some rosemary, some whatever, any kind of sauce you like. But it's just important to get that understanding correct, and then you're off, and it's great. Okay, I'm turning the heat up. We'll see you next time. Take care.